Good evening, everybody. Great to be in such an amazing school, I have to say. It looks nothing like my comprehensive school in Lowestoft, Suffolk. I've come up from London today, sadly just for the evening. I had a board of directors meeting this morning. I'm getting married on Saturday. I've got a stag night on Thursday. I'm in the middle of a protracted sales/investment process with my business as we gear up to launch our next generation of razors next year. But I do try to honour my commitments that I make to try and spread the word of what I do, why I've done it. And I'll just try to give you an insight into where I've come from, hopefully where we're going in this uncertain world we live in, and the importance of a few key learnings, I guess, that I've picked up along the road. Pretty humble beginnings, nothing special, certainly below average academically, although I did manage to get away with a 2-2 in mechanical engineering at Portsmouth Poly in the mid-80s, but very tough. Mum and Dad both teachers, so they're retired now obviously, but they instilled in me the importance of sucking up knowledge like a Dyson sucks up stuff, because you never know when you might be able to deploy it to your advantage. And really just a regular guy, to be quite honest with you. That's my brand, King of Shaves. It's had the same logo now for about 14 years. It's got some quite good write-ups from a design perspective in terms of how it blocks the K with the words. It's quite an unwieldy name. I'll come on to how it came about shortly. Gillette, which is owned by P&G, and Wilkinson Sword, which is owned by Energizer, the battery company. They're the only other two brands in the world in high-performance system razors, along with us, which is amazing. Taken me 19 years to position our brand into that space, and I'll come on to why that's been. But if I tell you Gillette has a global value market share of 85% of everything that's sold in system wet shave, that makes Apple's market share in smartphone look like peanuts. And it's a $59 billion value business with $9 billion a year cash flows on a gross profit margin of about 90%. Quite difficult to compete with. And you then have Wilkinson Sword, or Schick, as it's called in America, which itself is a $2 to $3 billion business. And then there's us, and I'll give us an enterprise value of 30, 40, 50 million, depending on who I speak to and what their appetite is for us at the time. So we're tiny. We're in the tens of millions, but we're minnow. And what I've spent the last few years, really since 2003, specifically since 2008 doing, is getting us into a position to launch what looks like a simple piece of shaving kit into the space in the same way that Apple launched their iPhone in 2007, a great product which got traction with a consumer in a way that blew up businesses like RIM, which do BlackBerry, Nokia, which do Nokia. Phrases now, you've been Nokia'd, you've been RIM'd, a sort of business parlance, whilst Apple, through designing, developing a great product, has been able to completely game change its sector. And remember, it used to make, 13, 14 years ago, pastel-coloured computers that designers would use in the design lab here. So it just shows you how things can change and develop and evolve and completely do a volte-face. We see we're going to be against austerity in France and Greece and shortly Spain, I'm sure, and that's going to put a huge amount of change dynamic again going into the world's economy. So all I know in this world now is nothing at all is certain. And with regard to King of Shaves, will people bet that we won't grow to be bigger than we are? I think we will. Could we take down Gillette? I don't think we probably will. It's a bit big, but you know what? Anything's possible. And if anybody's seen the Dollar Shave Club viral, anybody seen that? If you on the internet, funny guy with the bear and Genius, $5,000, 5 million views. In fact, I've had one of his cohorts on the phone to me today asking to talk to me about something, which I don't know what it is yet. So if you haven't seen that, Dollar Shave Club, have a look at that video. That is genius marketing for flumpence, as my sales and marketing director would call it. No money. So that's me, aged 26, 27. For some reason, shot against a crumpled bit of paper that didn't quite cover the top left-hand corner, with a tie and a suit on, as you were back in the mid-90s, before Dress Down Friday was invented. Remember, the internet didn't really come along until 95, proper. Holding a bottle of a shaving oil, which is the product I launched at Harrods, and a playing card who's the king of shaves on the right-hand side, and he's holding a razor instead of a sword, and he's shaved his beard off. There's quite a lot in that picture which is instructive in terms of if you're going to go into business. First of all, it's different. You've got to be different these days. And if you watch Britain's Got Talent or The Voice, there are already call-out acts within that space, which you see will go all the way. And there are acts that you can just see are just there as padding to fill out, prime time slots and sell advertising space at £200,000 for a 30-second spot that makes Simon Cowell even richer than he already is. The zagginess in there is the tiny little bottle of shaving oil, which looked completely different to a can of shaving gel. 10 mil, hand-filled, card, king of shaves, the world's best shave, £2.99. And at the time we launched it in Harrods and then Boots in the mid-90s, 94, it sat on the shelf, at the bottom of the shelf, because I had no money to give to Boots, alongside cans of Gillette Series, which would retail at £1.89. And some of you in the audience may remember Gillette, Wild Rain, Pacific Light, yada yada. So big metallic can of shaving foam, tiny little bottle of oil. And you'd have said there is no chance that brand is going to go anywhere, let alone try and position itself at some stage as a global challenger brand. Now, how has it been successful? Purely because the product is genius awesome at what it did. So if you were a guy in the mid-90s and you suffered from razor burn and you massaged in a small amount of oil and shaved, you didn't get razor burn. And that was it. Because it was so good, guys with sensitive skin raved about it. Down the pub to their mates, that King of Shave shaving oil, it's changed my life, he's changing the face of shaving, it's amazing, you should try it. People who didn't have a problem shaving, which, let's be fair, is, let's say 90, 85% of us, really didn't care. But that was the importance of establishing a brand in a niche. Because that halo effect, that King of Shaves is wow, amazing product. When we came to address the part of the market which was outside of shaving oil, and 19 years on we have 99.5% of the shaving oil market in the UK. It's about a £2 million market at retail. Nobody has launched a shaving oil against us. Nobody. Gillette, L'Oreal, Clarins, anybody. Which is incredible to me. That's 20 years of market share I've had in that little space. We then, in 95, thought, oh, we're a bit clever. I had an MBA as a business partner. Maybe we can sell a bit more than this little shaving oil we're selling now from Boots and Tesco and Superdrug. And we developed what we called an alpha gel, called Alpha because it was first, alpha, and it had aloe in it. All right, I didn't spend 60 grand at Interbrand telling me what to call it. I thought, okay, it's got aloe in it, and it's first alpha. That sounds quite cool. Alpha gel, is that trademark? No, we'll launch that. And taking those steps back in your gut and just doing it, very important. And I'm still like that today. Maybe a little bit more calmer about stuff because of the money involved. But nonetheless, if I like the sound of it, the smell of it, the ness of it, then I'll probably do it. And we launched this alpha gel, which had capsules of oil in it. So if you're a guy and you wanted the King of Shaves, but you didn't like our oil, which some people found very Marmite, then you might try this. We now sell between these products and other products that we've developed for women, for skincare, across the section. Well, this week we'll probably do just shy of 80,000 units in a week in the UK at a GP1 of about 55, 60%. So that's great, because it allows me to chat to you guys knowing that every 3 seconds we're selling a product. Now that freedom to then think ahead, which I'll come on to on the next slide, if you're now in business and whatever business you're looking to go into, if you've been made redundant, if you're looking to change direction, if you're looking to do something different, doesn't really matter. The ease of starting the business now is pretty compelling because of how you can do it. We'll talk a bit about social media and all of that malarkey later. But it's got to be great. It's got to be a great business these days, because if it's not great, it's instantly found out on the internet by word of mouth. Oh, that product I tried that said it was good as King of Shaves, it's rubbish. That gets picked up on a grooming blog, somebody retweets that, it goes out there, suddenly nobody wants to buy it, it's had the kiss of death, and it's like that. Now, 4 or 5 years ago, pre-TripAdvisor, pre-social networking, really pre the very connected world we live in now, you would have had a chance to establish yourself. Now you have no chance. You're either great or you're dead. Which is fantastic from my perspective, because I think, well, be great, then I won't be dead. Be fast, be clever, be agile, be nimble. Don't be arrogant, be confident. Lots of things that perhaps you can get away with when the business environment isn't as competitive as it is now. And remember now, we live in this sort of world. That's a Category 4 hurricane spinning in towards the Eastern Caribbean. It's about 1,100 miles wide. You do not want to be anywhere near that hurricane other than in the middle or 90 degrees to the right out the way. I try to keep King of Shaves positioned in that eye of a hurricane, so I can determine what we're doing, make moves that are unexpected by my competitors, box clever. In the eye of the hurricane, it's calm. And you can hear the AC, and you can hear yourself think. And as soon as you get dragged outside of that eye, ideally not immediately to the left, which is death zone, where Nokia, for example, finds itself, through not adapting its mobile phone IP technology, content, user experience quick enough, it's a nightmare place to be. It's a vicious, horrendous circle. You know, it's where, for example, businesses like bookshops may or may not be, video rental stores, stuff which is changing to content which is digitally consumed. You know, that's a scary place to be. In the eye, if you can position your business in the eye of the hurricane, and businesses that have are businesses like Facebook. If you follow all this social media stuff, you'll see it paid $1 billion to buy Instagram, which is a simple photo app you use on a smartphone. Even before that business got going. There's a very deliberate reason for that. It's taking out competitors before they even have a chance to grow. Google is sort of still in that eye, being a little bit messed up by Facebook. Gillette is still in that eye because it's got violent amounts of money to push out. You know, whether or not it's the best a man can get, it's certainly the most expensive a man can buy. And if you look at the Dollar Shave Club viral, you'll see how elegantly and cleverly the improv actor CEO of this startup, where you get $1 raises through the post for $1 a month, has completely blown up Gillette's marketing strategy in about 3 seconds of voiceover, which has now been picked up worldwide. So things can change pretty quick. And from my perspective, I run a very simple product-based business. We shave men's lives daily. We shave a few women's legs daily too. We sell in a number of countries. The business is an intellectual property business, a trademarks and a patents business. There are 20,000 patents around all of this stuff. You would not believe how difficult it is to launch competitive challenger level product without infringing existing filed or IP, which is, out there to defend a competitor's business from incursive, people coming in like us. So if you're in the audience and you're in a business and you're working in a job or deciding to start something up or going for a career change or networking away to try and give your business the momentum that it will require if it's a small business, just take a look at your business and think, am I determining my destiny? Am I in control of things, or am I being controlled? Us doing our version of Dollar Shave Club called kingofshavesub.com, which I think was in Money Saving Expert today, that's us seeing somebody doing something very clever very quickly in America, doing it here very quickly and opening up a brand new sales channel where you can get one of these through the post and 3 cartridges for £3 a month, postage paid. Just turns up £3 a month rather than £3.50 a blade from one of our competitors. So adapting to threats and opportunities, and this didn't exist 5 weeks ago, amazingly, we've turned that round and we've reacted and trying to keep ourselves in that eye of the hurricane. And going back to King of Shaves, we started with a shaving oil, we went into then shaving gels, we then went with the first into mass men's skincare, and this is 3 years before Nivea for Men launched. That brand launched in 1999. L'Oreal Men Expert launched in 2004. We've always tried to be in the vanguard of our business sector. And we tried to define what's going to happen next. So next year we'll be launching this new gorgeous razor that I shave with the development products of. A bit like Steve Jobs late Steve Jobs had his, no doubt, development iPhone. And we then need to put around that product which will complement and grow the value and the relevance of our brand. So I'm in a positioning phase there. We've sponsored this Olympic athlete, James Ellington, who put himself up onto eBay. The final bid was a hoax. We stepped in, shaved his life. Off the back of that, he's got huge amounts of press coverage, and he ran in the Olympic Stadium on Saturday, set a stadium record in the 100 metres. Not as fast as Usain Bolt, but he's a guy that is challenging and he's got great potential. So rather than me signing, as Richard Branson's done with Virgin, a Usain Bolt to promote his brand, I've signed a potential British next guy. And we've had people like Shelley Rudman, who medalled in the Winter Olympics, and other people on our books too, the World Powerboat Champion, for example. So with your business, again, if you can get into this hurricane's eye and give yourself time to think what's going on and then keep there, you'll find you're able to control and determine your destiny. So you get out of your business or your career or whatever it is you're seeking to do, what you want. Try not to fall out into anywhere outside of that. Really difficult. All right, I spend a shitload of time trying to keep in that space. Everything we do. Very nervous about things. Always retain a healthy degree of paranoia. It's a saying that was attributed to the Japanese founder of Kyocera, the ceramics to printers company. Always stuck with me, that phrase. Always retain a healthy degree of paranoia that somebody's going to nobble you from the least unexpected place. A little bit on how we get our brand out there. We shot a spoof of the King's Speech. It's on YouTube. Shot it in my fiance's front room. She was an advertising creative director at Bartle Bogle Hegarty BB8. She came up with the Lynx effect for Unilever back in 1996. So if you've got kids, you can blame her for what they buy and keep in their bathrooms. A lady called Tiger. She said, the King's Speech is going to get loads of Oscars. You've got to shoot Will King's Speech. And it's all about you talking about your challenger, and get that across on Oscar night. And we shot that. It's on YouTube. If you Google King's Speech, you'll see it. It was the 5th most retweeted viral on Oscar night last year. Not this year, last year. which was great for us. It was deliberately done in America because we'd signed a distribution deal with quite a big company that owns Remington, the electric shaver brand, to sell King of Shaves there. So I was looking for a market resonance awareness in West Hollywood, in the Valley, all that sort of stuff, because that's where sexy America lives. New York's a bit serious. Crazy la-la people live over there. You know, we're King of Shaves. We're a little bit zag. That budget was shot for 3,000 quid. And the publicity got around about $500,000, maybe. Last year as well, we had Roger Federer play Andy Murray with giant razors. We shot it in the tennis court, which is near where I then lived. Not my tennis court. I don't have a tennis court, but it was nearby to my house. And Roger Federer was knocked out of Wimbledon in 2011. And we thought we'd shoot Andy Murray beating him playing tennis with giant razors, which we did. And again, that got picked up and went nicely viral, and marketing press picked it up. Again, shot for a tiny amount of money, but topical, funny, humorous. And when we talk about things like in my space, advertising, how do you compete with a company that is spending in the UK about 50 million a year on integrated above the line and below the line promotions? Well, clearly you can't outspend them. So you've got to outsmart them or embrace or go into channels which allow you to compete with them. Because any fool can spend money. And I just look at the fools that spend it. And I look at what's going on with their market share, which isn't going north, let me tell you. So there is what I call a fear spend being dropped in to stop little challengery guys like us doing things a bit differently. But we do have to have the oxygen of publicity. And again, whatever it is in your career, your business, the way you project yourself when you meet people, how you talk, what you talk about, where you're going, how you do it. Before I came here, I gave an interview with the Yorkshire Post, who were keen to understand what I'm here talking about and why, and how we're doing with Morrisons and Asda, which of course we trade with. That you give yourself that opportunity to get your message out there. Because if you've got a really cool Ferrari and it's parked in a garage with no petrol, doesn't mean a thing. If you can find a little bit of money to put some petrol in it and open up the garage door and go for a drive, then at least people know you've got a Ferrari. And where publicity is concerned, especially right now, where things are really, really tough, everything's sold on price, but we all know none of us buy the cheapest we can. I would challenge anybody here to say, I'm driving around in the cheapest car I can afford, wearing the cheapest suit or skirt, the cheapest pair of shoes, I eat the cheapest I possibly can, and I send my kids the cheapest education. There is not one person I've ever met who would say that is a strategy. Okay? What is a strategy is, for example, I read in the Times today, who knew that venison is on its way to becoming one of the UK's most popular meat dishes? Sales are massively up. There aren't enough deer in the UK to keep up in demand. Farmers are going spare, all because Wills and Kate served it at their wedding-y thing last year. All the celebrity chefs have picked up on it, and now venison is the meat to eat. Who knew? So don't get into beef farming, get into venison deer farming, or get hold of wherever it is and bring it in here because we haven't got enough of it. So that's the sort of crazy world we live in, where it's weirdly celebrity driven. You know, we look at the $1 billion Manchester City squad, and you look at these people and money and the crazy film stars, the reality TV shows. I was chatting with the young ladies about, I did a photo shoot just before, The Only Way is Essex, Made in Chelsea, all of this crazy stuff which is going on, but it's real. And with you and whatever it is you're doing, you've got to be tuned into stuff like this, because the world we live in now is just so now and current and crazy and changing that it's very difficult sometimes to get a handle on, which is why I'm really happy selling stuff you shave with and you don't get razor burn, and working out in a cunning way how to play Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 in the real world, which is what being an entrepreneur's like. Apart from you don't get hopefully killed, and if you do, you can respawn yourself, to at the end of the day, at the end of the game, take down the big boss and achieve the mission objective. And when I talk to young people, I try to put into their minds the fact that that's what it's like. If you want it to be like that, often many people don't. They want to just have nice lives and do certain things. But if you want to get into this entrepreneurial crazy space of challenging for change, and with literally 16 people come up with a razor which has got patents around it and trademarks and years of R&D from clever people who work with James Dyson and other sources of knowledge, from Branson's Galactic through to yacht coating technologies, lots of craziness to try and come up with a product which simply shaves closer, lasts longer, and you get a great shave from it. It's no different to playing that, working out the angles. How are you going to do it? What's the strategy? For me right now, it's a really crazy space because we're launching a great product. I know I need to get a lot of money raised to launch it. We've always had lots of approaches to buy the business. I'm not sure I want to sell to some of the people approaching me. Other people I'd like to launch it with aren't talking to me. And then I need to work out what I'm going to do to launch it. So it's a little, quite swirly, and I'm getting married. But it's good fun. Lots of things going on. I quite like that. Not too much, but lots of stuff. And then you've got to learn how to filter out the rubbish and the distraction and do what needs to be done. So I have a little acronym that I try to keep close to and to keep me dialed into a reality. As my brother calls it, Will, you're either the delusional side of genius or the genius side of genius. And he's a hedge fund guy. Started off with $10 million seed, built his hedge fund up to $2.3 billion in 7 years, made a lot of money. He's one of my backers, investors. And he's only as good as his last trade. With me, he sees his brother running his business with just one trade, which is to launch this razor in a great, fantastic way and completely change the face of shaving over the period of the coming years. He's doing lots of trades to make money. I've just got one that I've been working on for 19 years. So this S in this space, and I'll come on to why space, stands for the satisfaction of success. Now, if you're owning or running a business and you're at the top, often it's quite lonely and people sort of don't like talking to you too much. Or if they do, they're either very positive and bumlicky, or they're very negative and want to kill you. Yeah, there's no real balance other than perhaps in the, with your friends and family and the people you know, like my parents or, my fiance or whoever's close with me. And it's sometimes difficult to reward yourself and look after yourself with the fantastic things that you're doing. Because if you're running a business, you're making lots of things happen for other people as well as yourself, remember? And often people who are doing that forget to look after themselves. And every week, every step you take, there should be a little micro reward to yourself, a little pat on the back for whatever that satisfaction of success is you've achieved. I'm pleased I've come up this week in quite a busy week to chat to you guys and not flake it, as I nearly sort of did but haven't, because of the pressures on mine. Now that's made me feel quite good. Not in a big-headed way, but it just makes me feel quite good that I'm out here chatting to you, because who knows who I might meet, what I might find out, where we might go. That's the power of networking. And the reward I give myself every week is I buy myself a Crunchy bar. And do you know what? I tweet out every week, I'm buying a Crunchy bar, and do you know what? Cadbury sent me a shitload of Crunchy bars. I kid you not. Now that's weird, isn't it? So people are, that's my little reward. Why a Crunchy bar? It's gold, it's got nice dark chocolate, it's got gold in the middle, maybe a little gold bar, and it's quite indulgent, and I quite like it, honeycomb. But that's my little sort of weekly reward for me, which sounds a bit weird and trite, but it's sort of, I look forward to it. And whatever it is you're doing, don't forget to look after and reward yourself, every success you get, or if there's a knockback, just to take stock. Because it's easy if you're the boss or the founder or the person with the personal guarantee, the overdraft, the risk, to sort of, not take care of yourself. Because there's only you can take care of yourself, really. Other people will, but you've got to look after yourself first. So give yourself a little pat of the back, satisfaction of success regularly. The P in space is pretty obvious, passion and persistence. I'm lucky enough to meet a crazy load of people selling shaving stuff as I do. So a lot of people think King of Shaves is American. A lot of people don't know there's a guy from Lowestoft behind it in his 40s. But the people who bought and buy the brand, from like Prince Andrew, for example, and some of the royal family, use it, to Paul McCartney, because his wife bought it from Linda before she died because she was vegetarian, and our shaving oil is not tested on animals, to Gary Rhodes, to X to Y to Z, the crazy bunch of people I meet. And then more recently, as I've sort of given out lots of awards to companies on the entrepreneur circuit, lots of entrepreneurial people. And all of them are hugely and wildly passionate about what they do. Not to the late Steve Jobs level of evangelism, which is a little bit overpowering, if I'm down to my last 40 billion, I'm going to screw Google, he says on his dying bed, because of them ripping off his IP to launch their phone. That's perhaps a little bit over the top and a little bit toppy. But the passion you must have, and then the persistence that you've got to follow that through with, if you don't have those, you may as well go home. And, it's as simple as that. I mean, it's so trite to say it, but it's not really. I mean, I'm 19 years in. I have a great time doing what I do. It's massively scary at some times. Other times it's hugely rewarding because of the decisions or moves you make, which then become the way things are done, which I'm really proud about. But the persistence piece, no's are delayed, yeses. Just keep on going if your gut tells you that it's the right thing to do. Don't be stupidly persistent if you know it's a rubbish idea and you're just being stupid about it to get your point across. But often in life it's timing, and it's who you talk to and when. And, it's like asking the pretty girl out or the great-looking guy. Maybe you just got your timing wrong. Maybe they'll say yes next time. Maybe they were just a bit upset about something, had their mind on something else. You never know. But that recirculation of passion and persistence will pay you dividends. And you never know when it might strike. Pretty full on keeping those guys going, I'll tell you. I'm a bit tired come the weekend, and I don't really sort of have a weekend. It's a bit blurry. I've forgotten there was a bank holiday last Monday, so I was quite pleased there was, till I found out there wasn't a bank holiday in other places around the world, and I still had to do some work. Attitude and action. You've got to have the right positive mental attitude. Again, boring and trite, but you've got to take the action. And a lot of things now is if it feels right, just do it. Just do it. The where my keys, where my phone, where my keys, where my phone. All right? So as soon as that goes out on Britain's Got Talent, I started tweeting out my razor, where my razor, where my blades, where my razor, where my blades. King of Shave subs coming. And you might think, that's a crazy CEO, but I've got an iPad, I've got TweetDeck on it, started putting that out with dropping a hashtag in it. That then gets retweeted by my followers. They all then think it's quite funny, then ask me what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. And then I tried to get hold of Zipara Tafari, because I've met Simon Cowell back in the day, but he's contracted to buggery with Psycho. That song's going to be a UK festival #1. It is a guaranteed Sona that is going to be out there. If I could have got him, met him before to do something with this kingofshavesub.com site we've launched, perfect. But you see things like that and you take action on it. All right? And it's thing. I talked to you about the athlete James Ellington towards the end, but the guy who, really fast British sprinter, nobody really knew him because of his injuries, put himself up onto eBay, got huge coverage across all the media in TV, radio and press. Great idea, I thought. 3 or 4 people who are King of Shaves fans tweeted me saying, what a great idea, but if it goes wrong, you should step in and help him out. So I thought, yeah, well, I'll have a look at him first and see what his backstory is. And he dropped out of elite funding because of injuries. He's a really fast guy. He's just run a stadium best in the Olympic Stadium at the test event this weekend. Not as fast as Usain Bolt, but he runs a 200, not the 100. And I tweeted him and said, if it doesn't work out, give me a call. And it turned out that this eBay bid was overseas, and they hadn't understood the terms and conditions of it, so they were allowed to pull out of it. So he'd gone all the way up there and thought he had all the money, and then he didn't. And then I step in with unconditional funding, ring him up, meet, shake a hand, do a big press conference over it, and suddenly the press are fantastic. Now, it only happened because I came to know about this opportunity to sponsor Olympic athletes running up into the Olympics, which is great timing for me, although I can't talk about it, otherwise LOCOG will sue me. And I acted on it. I didn't sort of think, oh, will he be any good? What happens if he gets injured? Will he run fast? Is he good looking? No idea. Just thought, yeah, that sounds about the sort of thing that King of Shaves should do as a challenger brand to back people with potential. And look at all of the things. There's a great book, if you haven't read it, by The Black Swan. Has anybody read The Black Swan by Nick Taleb? 1, 2 people. Okay, unexpected. Barack Obama would not be president of the United States had 9/11 not happened. There is no way a black guy would have become POTUS. There is no way. But that did happen, and now he is. But nobody could have predicted that. So life is full of these huge unpredictabilities, and often everybody's given opportunities to walk through doors to do something, but then they don't. An opportunity is rarer than you think. All right? If anybody offers you an opportunity, whatever it is, and however crazy, banal, weird it is, you never know where it might take you because of the dots that you join going forward. So it's a good book if you're into reading about how you can't predict the future and being open to opportunities. But take action. Don't just sit there whilst the hurricane blitzes you, because you'll be dead. Confidence, common sense, and community. People like doing business with confident people, not arrogant people, not stupid people, and not people up their own arse, but they do like doing business with people like Simon Cowell, for example, because he is confident. Like him or not, he's confident. And also, he's got a great reputation. He calls it as it is. So I tried to sign him to launch King of Shaves in America. It's a bit toppy on the cost, but my view was, I'm Simon Cowell, this is King of Shaves, it's the world's best shave, trust me, try it. I guarantee if I'd have been able to get that ad away, people would have done. Because they've gone, yeah, Simon Cowell, of course. He doesn't lie, he tells the truth. It's quite a funny double act with David Walliams at the moment, but you know what? He's hard. And when you see the press comments on The Voice after BGT got mega more ratings than The Voice did this weekend, they're saying, oh, the judges are too soft in The Voice, it's all too soft, it's all too nice, it's not real. Of course it's not real. It's completely unreal. Whereas Simon Cowell actually is a pretty real guy. He sort of knows it when he sees it. And that confidence, really important you have it. Not arrogance, not stupidness, not silliness, not shyness, just a nice, hello, nice to meet you. This is what I do in my business. Is there any way I can work for you? What do I have to do to get an opportunity to pitch for your business? Or whatever the trial close is. Common sense, all right? Often where confidence is concerned, common sense walks out the door because you get a bit carried away with your own bullshit and how, you can string words together or get people to believe in your vision. So the confidence and the common sense, they must go hand in hand. They're the belts and braces, all right? As geniusly delusional I may or may not be in my business, and the way I run it, which is spending loads of money on intellectual property I believe will be great for the future at violent cost to the company, and no lines of business to put against it at the moment, my common sense is telling me what I'm shaving with is lovely and is gorgeous and is wow. And I'm a regular common sensey guy. I do have it sanity check my stuff, by the way, by proper guys in panels and stuff. But, I know it when I feel it. I deliberately bought into the whole Apple franchise, iPhone 2007, hacked that from the US to see how that all worked on a Vodafone card. Jailbroke that. One of the first iPads, first MacBook Air stuff. Why is this stuff got such a wow about it? What is it? And it's, common sense. It's just great and fab and easy to use. Confidently sold. It's an Apple. It's an Acer. Shave with it. Use it. Very, very important. The community part is mainly to do with where the world's shifting to in terms of this word of mouth thing now. So 6 years ago, 6 years ago, Facebook didn't really exist. It had sort of been set up by Zuckerberg out of Harvard, but it wasn't at scale. I signed up to Facebook in 2006, and I signed up to Twitter in 2007. These were then tiny sort of, why bother? What? Facebook? What does that do? No, can't do that. Isn't that like Friends Reunited used to be? No, this, that. But when you dug underneath it, you could see that there was a dynamic of scalability going on, that if you join the dots forward, is simply creating a global interconnectedness of 1 billion people as a platform. So it's a platform, all right? If you're creating a platform, you can then build stuff on it. Where I'm concerned, tweeting out links about my video here, or calling out deals at Superdrug there, or we're at 50% off at Tesco right now, whatever. There's no point calling out on a platform of, say, 100 people. But if you drop your tweet out onto the Twitter public timeline with 500 million people on it, and it's seen by the right person who retweets it to there, then you have a huge cascade that kicks out. And, social media networks like Facebook and like Twitter probably haven't got as much traction as they could have done, because people find them a bit scary, the name's a bit silly. My dad says, I saw you twittering on the other day. And of course, Twitter is one word removed from Witter, and nobody likes a Witterer. So I'm sure there are things that Jack Dorsey, the founder, would have changed had he realized how big and at scale that would be. And coming back to the community, whatever your business is, if you are not embracing this whole world of social media integrated, YouTube, a Facebook page for your business, a fan page, an F-commerce store, there's now Twitter commerce coming down the track, the YouTube videos, how you demo your product, what you do. I mean, there's this in Manchester, there's a business, they read my book, which incidentally was on sale at Amazon and was a business bestseller 3 years ago when I wrote it. He owns I think it's Pancake Square in Manchester, and my fiance comes from Manchester, says, but pancakes don't have squares. They don't have corners. No, Pancake Corner. Sorry, it's called Pancake Corner. But she says, pancakes don't have corners. And I said, no, I think he's probably done it to give him this sort of sense of talky-aboutiness and unusualness. And he uses Twitter to promote that business. And he hit me up to talk about that. Now, that digital community, and people have been tweeting me saying, looking forward to seeing you this evening, and hopefully if you're in the audience, I've replied and said thanks and stuff. I'm in the house of learning and here. That, if you take it to its logical conclusion, it is an at-scale opportunity to project out what it is your brand, business, service, profession is, if you get into it. And, to me, it's sort of reasonably second nature, because I've been sort of living in that space for 6 years now and talk on it to companies that really should know better about how to use it. A lot of people still don't understand it. A lot of agencies, a lot of ad agencies, a lot of social media companies, they still don't really get it, that it's just about the power of digital dialogue. It's about people like you talking to each other about a experience, be it or good or bad. And that community is very important that you build around your business, your friends, your fans, your followers, both your word of mouth ones and your word of mouse ones. And the E in space is enthuse, exceed, enjoy, which I had written on my business cards. But E, enthuse, be enthusiastic about what you do. Because if you're not, nobody else will. supplier, partner or employee. Exceed at it. So be the best you can be, because there's no room for averageness, sadly, anymore, if there ever was, let alone what's going on in the UK. Think what they're up to in China and India and in what I'll call really dynamic, hard-working, commercially minded, let's get that product, let's copy it, let's sell it back to them at this price sort of economies. They're going to try and exceed at what they're doing, so have we. And then above all, enjoy it. You know, I've spent 19 years enjoying what I do. I've had a great deal of satisfaction in seeing other people sort of chat with me and see them grow. For example, the CEO of Ella's Kitchen, I don't know if any of you guys use that product, if you've got young kids. You know, I met Paul 4 or 5 years ago when it was a very small business, and it will do sales of 40 million this year, which is fantastic for a baby food product, where you think, well, there can't be any market there. How can you do it? And he has. And many, many other people and businesses and brands and ideas and stuff that I've been lucky enough to see grow and develop. And all of the people in those businesses, they all enjoy it. They might say they don't at times, but they do really. Because it's quite, you know, I don't know, it's just a great feeling doing it your own way, making up your rules as you go along, dealing with obstacles as they're thrown at you, getting over them, working your way around them. And above all, enjoyable. Not for everybody. I chatted with the Yorkshire Post reporter about, could you teach entrepreneurs? And this is a question that's sort of put out there. We've got the Peter Jones Enterprise Academies. We've got a variety of you know, entrepreneurial focused sort of aesthetic things going on. Gazelle, of which I'm part of, which is to do with FE, along with Luke Johnson and people like that. But that for sure, you can get people thinking about being entrepreneurial in their outlook if they enjoy it and you make it enjoyable. So coming back to James, he is on Twitter at Jellington100M, if you follow that. He's back from his warm weather training. I hope none of the Olympic squad's announced yet in athletics. They run a test event, I think, in May or June. I'm not too sure when. I should know, really, because I'm planning an advertising campaign around it. He'll hopefully be running in the 100 or 200 metres, probably 200-metre team, and the 4x100 metres. And that hashtag high performance is what we're using in our sort of social media campaign, press campaign, when it launches, in the run-up to launching this new high-performance razor that we're doing next year. I always try to own a little bit of language where King of Shaves is concerned, maybe a little bit cheesy at times, but I quite like us owning how we say things. We talk about shaving hardware for razors and blades and shaving software for shaving gels and stuff. And that's been picked up by IRI and Taylor Nielsen and companies that report on our sector, which I think is quite cool. It's a shaving oil being held by a gorilla. Not too sure why that's in there, but it just is. I just like the imagery. These are our products. They're on sale at all the major UK retailers. At Tesco right now, I think we're amazingly and at violent cost to us, 50% off across our range for 4 weeks to give us a top-line sales boost in this sales promotion world we live in. I hope you've enjoyed my sort of somewhat random zigginess through my career to date. Lots more to unfold, lots I haven't talked about, but I hope you enjoyed what I had to say to you this evening. Thank you very much.